If Bill Zito does not win GM of the Year next season, Kermit's going to do the recaps nude. Holy crap. You've got to be kidding me. Sam Reinhart, a perennial 20-25 goal scorer, for a goaltender we took in the 7th round, who looks like he's got a chance of being pretty good, and a first-round pick, and nothing else. And nothing else. We sat here for the last 12 hours, 12 hours, thinking, is it going to be Vetrano? Are we going to have to give up Achari? Are we maybe going to be able to find a way to get rid of Strawman? People say maybe it's Tippett, maybe it's Bennett, maybe there's going to be a bunch of picks involved, and it's Devon Levi and a first. Holy crap. So, wow. All right, let's get into the hockey aspects of this a little bit, because I don't want to stomp on the Buffalo fans' necks while the wound is fresh. The wound is fresh, okay? Bill Zito somehow has upped himself, because this is better than Hornquist for Matheson. This is better. It's not even close. Now, maybe eventually, some point down the road, Levi, Levon, maybe at some point he becomes something, but in the interim, they basically just traded Reinhart for a bag of pucks and an unseen storage unit. The door is closed. You don't know what's behind it. You know the guy that owned the unit was rich, but why did he stop paying? You know what I'm saying? That's the first-round pick next year. So, in a hockey sense, first of all, we didn't have to give up any roster players, nothing. Not even a tinkling of a Hepanoemi or Denisenko. Nothing. Nothing. So the roster is completely intact. We just added a clearly beautiful partner for Hagee with Barkov and, oh my, Reinhart. That's the top line. Then, so we just signed Duclair. I'm just like all giddy. I'm besides myself. We signed Duclair, and thought process, well, are we going to put him back with Huberdeau and Bennett? But we want to keep Tippett with those two because they did really well. So right now, our third line could possibly be Lundell with Vetrano and Duclair. All right. Wow. So now we knew we had to go out and get a partner for Barkov. How we pulled this off without having to give up any assets, I'm curious as to if they were asking about Vetrano and why that wouldn't happen. Now, I know the thing happened with Larson in Arizona, so now Strawman may not want to go there, so that deal might kind of be dead, right? I'm going to have a second video out about the rest of the going on in the NHL, because it's just like everything is happening at once. But I waited all morning to get this one out. Does this make us better than Tampa? That's going to be the question everybody wants to know. Well, I'm not saying we just suddenly got better than the two-time champs, but they lost Yanni Gourde and we got Reinhart. So, it certainly helps even the playing field. Still going to come down to goaltending. And I still feel like we need a top 4 defenseman. But Barkov is going to buy this guy a Rolex just for showing up. You've got to be kidding me. Now, he does need a contract. Which brings me to Sam Bennett. This deal is good. I love this deal. But if Sam Bennett decides he's not going to sign, it kind of hurts the deal a little bit, because it takes away from the fact that we are absolutely just stone cold loaded right now. So I know Bennett is, what everybody's kind of heard he's asking a little bit too much money. This gives Zito some leverage, obviously, because if Bennett doesn't want to sign, we basically, we said, okay, you can walk Bennett, and we've got Reinhart. I know he's not a center. I still feel everything I've heard is that Bennett is still going to sign. I feel confident that that deal is going to get done. So when you look at our top 9, what's not to love, right? And we're still working on a deal for Wenberg. So we don't know exactly if how that's all going to shake out. If we get Wenberg, is he still slotted in at 3C? Are we a little bit shaky on what Lundell is going to be? Remember when Barkov came up, he didn't immediately start off right in the top 6. He played down below a little bit. So we don't know what's going to happen with Lundell and Wenberg in that situation. But we are set. Oh, man, this is just so beautiful, beautiful. If we can expect this every year, Panther fans, the cup is ours. Just give it to us now. Just give it to us now, provided somehow we have to get Tampa to not play. Somehow we have to get Tampa to not play next season, and the cup is ours. Because I'm looking at this team right now. I said this yesterday on my Patreon. I feel like the roster we have can win 2 rounds. I feel like we can get to the Eastern Conference Finals if we can bypass Tampa. I'm not going to sit here and say we're ready to roll past Tampa because Andrei Vasilevsky is still on their team. I don't care if they lose 2 or 3 guys because of their cap situation. You still got Vasilevsky, and when he says no goals, there's no goals. So they're still the team to beat. But this is a beautiful thing. Now, I know we heard that it might have been Vetrano on his way out. Don't be surprised if that move still finds a way to happen. The fact that Vetrano is still here and Stralman is still here, you see what I'm saying? With Reinhart, if we can get Bennett signed, it may cost us Vetrano to move Stralman, which, I know we need the cap space, but his deal is only this 1 more year. It's just this year. We're fine with cap space this year. So, I mean, if we're gonna give up Vetrano to get rid of Stralman, what are we gonna do with that money? Are we gonna spend it? Or are we just gonna sit on it? Are we gonna sit on it and see if we need somebody at the trade deadline? Or are we gonna use that money to go get a top 4? Now, if our offseason consists of this trade, getting rid of Yandel, sending Vetrano and Stralman somewhere to spend that money on a top 4D, if that's what our offseason is, just build the statue now to Zito. Just do it. Okay? I don't know how he didn't get GM of the year last year. We already know how that went. But this, everybody else is overpaying. And, I mean, like I said, there's going to be another video. I could do 2 hours alone on the Seth Jones situation. But, so, Panther fans, get ready for this. You know what this is. You know what this is when we say 2 and we clap. All right? Get ready for a whole hell of a lot of that this season. Wow. If this team stays intact and somehow adds a top 4, or even if we lose Vetrano and still add a top 4D, you got to put Tampa at the top. You got to put Florida right there below them, and then everybody else. Everybody else is everybody else, okay? And I know that I'm not trying to disrespect the Canes, okay? But Florida gave Tampa Bay the best run for their money, and that was without Ekblad and with lousy goaltending. So we play night, we get Ekblad back. Now we've got Reinhart. I'm just absolutely tickled. The only thing, like I said, is, and everybody's excitement, don't forget, we probably at least are still trying to find a way to move Vetrano if it can get rid of Stralman's contract. But if it doesn't, we've got an expensive seventh D-man. You know what I mean? There's still room there. There's still cap room to bring in a top 4 guy on defense. I still would like to know what Suter is looking for. I mean, Stralman's making, what, 5.5? If the price to get Suter is Vetrano and Stralman go that way, and we give Suter 3 times 5.5, which I know is a bit much, but in terms of Stanley Cup windows, 3 years is an eternity, all right? You know what I mean? He's still viable, which means he's still going to be viable at least for 2 more years. And then we'll see what happens in the 3rd year. So if we could get Suter in there, this team, is just get ready for a lot of claps. Get ready for a lot of claps, man. Now, in terms of off the ice, the interesting thing here is that Achari's name was mentioned. I don't know how much legit there was behind that, but I did see it in multiple places. That could be explained. That could explain Q's infatuation with Mason Marchment in terms of, you know, a tough, gritty guy that can kind of fill in everywhere. You see what I'm saying? That's what Achari's role has been. That's what Marchment kind of did for us last year as well. So I think long term, Marchment is probably the Achari replacement there. I think in trying to get rid of Stroman's contract, those were probably the two guys, Vetrano and Achari, that were probably willing to dangle out there. But it's up to Stroman because he's got this limited no trade clause. And the thing with Arizona, now he may not want to go because, you know, of the trade with Larson and everything. So, all right. I'm going to have another video out later. So, look, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm curious about what you think. Is it just a given that he's up top? Because I've seen a lot of people making lineups, and that's going to be the whole thing for the next 2 or 3 days, right? Is let's make lines and everything. I'm not going to get too heavy into thinking I know exactly what's going to happen until we see what's going to happen with Vetrano. If Zito, I would love to see Zito come out and say, that's it, we're done, but we're still going to try to add a top 4D, but the players that we have are staying. I mean, I know he's not going to do that, but it's just beautiful. I cannot believe he pulled this off. I can believe it because of what happened last year. But how did he get Buffalo to agree to this? I mean, not even throwing in another 2 or another 3, a conditional 2 or 3. Just Levi and a first. That's it. The kid's been. We have 3 of the top 4 draft picks now from the 2014 draft, provided we sign Bennett again. And the kid he's had 1 season under 20 goals. He's had 1 season under 20 goals. He had 25 last year, like 53 games. And that's all they got? I'm just tickled. I'm absolutely tickled, man. I just cannot believe it. Bill Zito is a freaking genius. Give him the statue now. I will be back later on this evening. Geez, the Seth Jones thing. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that money? And everything just keeps happening so fast. Every time I think I want to do an update, more stuff happens. And I kind of wanted to wait for this to happen. So let this sink in, Panther fans. Something tells me we're not done with the whole Vetrano-Stroman thing. But this is a beautiful thing. Regardless, our top 9 is set and stoked.